Hey everybody, Texas Trucker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. We're here trying to wrap up what we scored on the Icon 25% off sale. This was one of those tiered sales they do. Buy one item, X% off, two items, Y%, Z, so on and so forth. Four or more items, you basically got 25% off. That was the top tier discount. That's what we went for. First thing we brought in was two of the magnetic mats. Again, those have turned out to be fantastic. I was kind of leery of them. I didn't really know what to expect. They've exceeded expectations. Biggest complaint at this point is just where are the colors, and then how long will it hold up? The material, the surface finish, all that stuff, that'll just answer itself over time. Then we brought in the super long extensions, which were super hard to film. And my plan for the fourth item, the final one, really was the first item I planned to get, was the 1/2-inch locking flex head in the Gen 2 lineup. There were 5 ratchets, if I remember correctly, at the store. They all sucked. The 1/4 and the 3/8, I've got nothing bad to say about them, including bench impressions and usage through now. The 1/2-inch just was not the same, and it's expensive. It is a very long ratchet, I'll give it that. You can kind of justify the price in that manner, but I was not happy enough with the mechanisms, and I passed. Again, issue with Gen 1s, you had them in a little coffin, locked up. You couldn't feel them. You couldn't be like, hey, this one sucks, but this one's really good. This one's okay. This one's really good. Or, hey, these all are subpar and lackluster. Must be a bad batch. So I just kind of went with a gut instinct there and avoided it completely. At 25% off, it's a great deal, but at the same time, it's still a lot of money. And this is something I'd kind of wanted mainly to try, and mainly because these things always disappoint over time. And it'd been on the agenda. I've held off a really long time. There was a big sale recently, and I didn't pull the trigger then. This basically was my fourth item. It is the big incentive. And I'm sure now that I've bought it, it's going to wind up coming in different colors. But this thing is item number 70198. Not that it matters, but the part number is DSLB-R. And if we throw it down, this is what we've got. This is another thing that just does not work well here. That's probably as good as it's going to get. And you're thinking like, whoa, hey, I have that and I love it. What was the hesitancy? Well, I've said it many times, I'm not like a big light guy. For a long time, I ran this. We'll just do a quick little run through here. The Astro, this is a 40 SL Max. And it still works, it's fine, but when you use it, it dies really fast. And then guess what? It doesn't charge really fast. It charges really slow. Coming in, something I got to sort of supplement that. I probably had it before that. I don't know. I've gone through several of these. This is the Braun. When these are new, I have zero complaints. You can break them pretty easy. It also sort of does the reverse order. A lot of times you get adjusted to the flashlight or pin light coming on first. This one comes on last. You might not notice that, and you could kill it yourself, but it's kind of the same thing. Just it gets to a point, and the battery life is disappointing. It starts to dim really fast, and then the charging time is egregiously slow. What I wound up going to and really liking, I've got, I don't know how many of these things. This one is like pristine still, but these things are hung all over the shop in various places. They're the Brauns. And I bring this out for a reason. You're thinking like, oh, that's nice. It's blue. I bet you wish that icon was blue. I do. And, the point I'm making is even the Brauns eventually came out in colors. And I absolutely love it. That way, like if it's you yourself in your own home shop, it could be as simple as, hey, which one of these was I using and which one's charged? If you like blue and green and you've got the blue one under the truck and it dies, and the green one's good. It can just be to differentiate it from employees. It could be color coding in your own shop, gift giving, whatever. I'm very happy with those. I've been happy. Same thing with Astro somewhere. I have the Astro one. It's the same deal. Dims fast, charge time. gets ridiculous. But then this little tab here, the little protective paper that covers the magnet, that starts to come off over time. Just typical wear and tear. Then this is something where we also kind of got screwed. But this little icon right here, I had several of you when I bought this thing, and I was kind of monitoring it for a while. I said y'all loved the thing, but it like heated up and melted over time. I haven't really had this one give me much trouble, and while this one hasn't done much, I have one just like it at work that has, and that one's been really good. I have to use it, I'm not gonna lie, it's mainly the pin light. But I use that a lot, pretty much daily, and I rarely, granted it is the pin light, so that probably skews things a lot, but I've gotten really accustomed to it, and I'm kind of a fan. The thing that happened with these, they came out in colors. They're not like great, they're sort of like anodized type of a thing, but like red, kind of where you see the knurling, sort of simulated knurling. There's a red, there's a green, there's a blue. I think you've seen me bring in a green one that I gave as a gift to my nephew. I still haven't bought myself a blue one because it still hasn't died. I think one thing boding well for this one, I'm cycling it with other things, including my current favorite light, which I'll get to here shortly. But something I did do with a lot of mine, it just kind of drove me nuts. You've got a big, sweet, very wide casting light here, and you got a small one. And typically when this thing is shut, okay, they've got your big light here, and what that means is this thing is facing the other direction, and I use the light like this and want to direct all of the light wherever I need it to be. If I have this on a floor pan, I'm going to have it tilted up, right? If I've got it on a fender, I'm going to have it tilted down at an angle. I don't want to use this. I want to use this. So what I did is fix the light by flipping it. I flipped the element to do what I want it to do. And I've done that to several of these. I had some friends that, they had this light, and they had mine, and then, they were over here, and they're like, this is different, and I realized what I'd done, because I guess they were the same way, where this seems better than having the big light over here. And they're like, how'd you do that? Like, mine's not like that. And I said, oh yeah, I modified. And they're like, how? And I was like, well, you want me to do yours? And they said, yeah. And they come back, bring the light, and I'd swap it over for them. So these, like I said, I don't have tons and tons of runtime with them because I'm cycling, but the one at work has been tried and true, granted on flashlight, so it is what it is. And then currently what I'm rocking the most, and I say this as somebody who also wishes that this was available in orange or green, let alone blue, but I would have taken orange or green from the Mac, man. This is the big old Pro Stick. This thing has been really good. It's got the frosted cover. As you can see, I don't use that often. But if you're thinking like frosted cover, this side's clear, this side's frosted. You can just kind of dim it down. You don't have to run it. But it's been good. And the thing I like about this one is the runtime, and I don't often charge it. And I say that again as a guy who's wanted to like Mac lights, and I've bought several of the small ones, and they've been very disappointing. Very I'm talking warranty. My most warranted thing on the truck is small Mac work lights, believe it or not. And you would think that would happen over time, not in short order, but it's always short order. So this one's actually been really good. If I had to pick a current favorite, it would be it. There's some stuff I like of all of them. If I could sort of hybridize them, I would do that. But I decided to pull the trigger on this one. There's actually another reason for that, and it's because it has the UV light. And I know somewhere I have one of the Quantum black lights, like check for leaks. I don't know where mine is. I wound up having to buy a new one. I actually gave it to my nephew. He's got an AC leak, and it's like impossible to find. It's very, very slow, and I guess very, very small. But I was like, man, this thing kind of isn't that bright. And so this is an upgrade there, so I'm happy. But what'll probably happen, long story short, since I finally caved and bought this thing, And you saw what they did here, so they know they need to do it. They know they should do it. They know it's something that should be done to say we compete with Snap-on, which they love to do. It's what they also did with the cheap line, which is offer colors. Now, I do have an Icon puck light, which is bigger than this, and I've had even more of you tell me that thing melts. I don't really use my Icon one. I use the Braun's all the time. The Icon sees a little action when the Braun's are dead, or I can't find one. But the majority of the time, I'm using these little puck lights. Not going to lie, they're fantastic. The articulation's good. When you have enough of them, you don't really have to worry about them dying because you've always got one ready to go. But since this is here, inevitably, this thing is going to come out in blue and green and probably black, which I also would have preferred. I don't know that they'll do any crazy bright colors. You know, the Icon hasn't really done that. They've stuck to their core. But blue or green would have been vastly preferred. I rarely do all black in a light. Again, if I could get this Mac in colors, I would have done that. Same with the Quantum. It's just easier to find it. Not leave it behind type of a thing. But I'm sure since I finally caved, it's probably an imminent thing. That said, for those of you that have had this, you've probably had it for a good while, or it's been something that you tacked on. You're like, okay, I'm getting the Gen 1, or the Gen 2, quarter, 3/8, and half-inch locking flex head, but what's the fourth item? It could have been this, right? So if you've grabbed this, how long have you had it, number one? Number two, how do you like it? And number three, what do you have to compare it to? Are you comparing it to your old Astro that's on its last legs and should have been probably trashed? Are you comparing it to your previously purchased Icon? Is it something you're like, hey, I skipped this one. I had a ton of the Brauns that I've stacked on coupons and just keep running them, and then I went this route? Or are you like, hey, I got that because I leave my Snap-on one. That thing's expensive. Dealer shows no sympathy for me, doesn't discount them when I lose them again and again. I figured, hey, if I'm going to lose it, I'm going to try this one. And how does it compare? You're like, man, that really sucks. The Snap-on's so much better. You're like, you know what? It's kind of negligible. And if I don't have the Snap-on here to compare it to, I'm not sure I can tell the difference. I sort of have the mindset, whether it's Mac, Snap-on, Tool Truck, cheap China, cheap Taiwan, expensive Taiwan, I kind of just don't trust work lights and flashlights. I can find something I like the form factor of, and that's important to me. I can find something where I think, hey, you know, this isn't terrible, or it's held up fairly well, but over time they all just kind of suck, okay? Like, this goes back to my halogen. My favorite work light as like a teenage kid, it was this yellow sort of industrial thing that had like a wire screen, and it was literally fluorescent, or like the bulb, you know, and so you'd have to like flip a latch at the top, the wire screen unfolds, you'd put the new bulb in, and I don't know how many strands of carpet I burned with that. That thing would get hot, right? I tried the drop light, the traditional drop lights. I had one that was kind of okay, and then it got real funky. It had the cheap switch, and it sucked. And then I was like, screw it, I'm getting myself a good work light. This is probably just before I started filming tool stuff for this channel. I was running that, and it was like the drop light, but the switch worked, and it was an LED, which I loved that it didn't get hot, and I wasn't setting carpet on fire. You know, that stuff stinks if you've never done it. But a little bit after that, the place I bought it from sends out an email that there's been a massive recall, that it started a fire, and there's been a lawsuit and all this crud, you know, and I'm like, what? Basically, they just gave me, like, full refund and $10 or something to spend on something else, and I'm like, well, okay. And so I still have that thing somewhere, I think. I kept it so I could cut the cord off, but they're just always like that. Same thing with the flashlights. I constantly have people telling me, like, dude, you got to try this, you got to try that. I have attempted a few times to order something, and I thought, you know what, I am going to try that. You know, this many people rave about it, it's got to be good, right? And every time I try to do that, it's either out of stock, or if it's in stock, they don't have the color I want. And the last thing I want when I'm going to spend like 80 plus bucks on a flashlight to go in my pocket every day is to have the frickin' thing be black, because that's what I'm going to drop and not be able to find, right? And when they have cool colors I actually like, I'm not going to go there and shell out the money for the expensive flashlight. So you're talking to a guy that literally, my flashlights are the little quantum ones, or maybe they're Braun, I don't even know. But they've been good to me. You know, again, it's just one of those things. I kind of don't expect much, and I don't have much delivered. And that's really the best scenario in lights, in my opinion. But I guess, comparatively, if you do the Harbor Freight comparison of this versus Snap-on, yeah, this is a way better price, okay? Now, in terms of how long they're going to last, I don't own any big Snap-on lights. I have some small ones, which I've been quite happy with as opposed to the Max, but this, I don't know. And I don't really have a tool truck comparison aside from the Mac Pro Stick, which is not quite as complex of a light, but I really like, and it's held up really well. And again, that comes from a guy who's hated my small Mac stuff. So, needless to say, these selling points, if we can showcase this, it is 1000 lumen, dual-sided, rechargeable, slim bar, and it has, as I mentioned, the UV inspection. So, this is kind of the other thing. I've never had a light that was high color. I've used one, okay, but I've never actually owned one. This is sort of like if you paint and you're checking, or if you're detailing. Maybe you're just, it could be as simple as like you've clay barred your car and you're like looking for, hey, did I miss a spot? Or you get interrupted. Usually when I detail things that are important, I get interrupted all the time. Ideally, you've got like certain time windows you try to meet with high-end jobs, and yeah, it gets real nice when you're like, wait, I think I left the creeper seat in roughly where I left off. Depends on the car's color, but bottom line, having something like this, will it be good? Will it be helpful? I don't know, but I'm going to try. So that will be nice. Again, the UV light, like I said, I think I have one somewhere. I don't know where. And this one, I've played with this quite a bit, actually, especially with a little level. But I was using it a lot in the dark 2 nights ago. In the packaging, yes, I roll that way. It's kind of impressive in the packaging, I'm not gonna lie, but this is way brighter than what I had and what I just bought for my nephew a few weeks ago. Right there, the flashlight, again, I always kind of think that's sort of cheesy. I do use it on the Mac. A cool thing on the Mac that I wish this had, there's a magnet here, so when I use this to find things, if it's, you know, a nut or a bolt or something, spring from a throttle return, I can actually like pick it up. I go fishing, I see it, I slide and stick it, and it comes out. All right, it's kind of 2 tools in one. That's something Mac did really cool on that one. I would love to see that here. I'd love to see that on any light of this size, actually. But the flashlight function is one of those things I don't really consider the selling point, but this light right here at work, it's in flashlight mode probably 90 to 95% of the time. I'm not even joking, and I love it, but it's kind of application specific there. The next thing, it's got dual lights, which, yes, this thing, it's sort of annoying cycling through it, because again, I played with this quite a bit the other night, but you can illuminate both sides. Where would that be helpful? Think of a situation where you need max illumination, you and a buddy are thrashing on something late at the track. It could also be just as innocent as, oh no, flat tire, side of the road, I'm going to turn this on, I need to be able to see. But it's also kind of nice if you have something reflecting the opposite direction to alert motorists, hey, there's some poor dude here with car trouble. They claim it's going to be IP65 water resistant, chemical resistant. I think when this came out, I remember people doing what they always do when Harbor Freight comes out with new stuff that makes claims, dunking it, throwing every chemical at it to try and destroy it. Seems like something did. I don't remember the particulars. I do my best to not dunk electronics of any kind, but sometimes stuff happens. 1 meter impact resistance, so if I get really pissed off and chuck this across a shop, I've got a decent distance I can go. Again, high 96 plus color, rendering index, that's your CRI. Ergonomic anti-slip grip. That's the weird thing. As much as I've used this in the packaging, I don't know what the grip is like because I have to hold it weirdly. Then 360-degree rotating hook for multiple mounting options. They claim it's USB-C, which is really nice. 270-degree here. I kind of thought it folded over. Maybe that's the 180 and it comes down 90. That's probably what it is. That's probably okay. Battery fuel gauge, which has been being 4. I played with this in the store quite a bit, a couple nights, and then I used it quite a bit Monday night. So I don't know what that does. I'm wanting to actually open the manual, but when I turn this on, you're blind and you've got 4 bars. Hit it again, we're to the back side. Tap it the 3rd time, we're back to the front, because this is the dual side that I described for your roadside. Hit it again, you've got the UV light, which hopefully you can see that there. And one more tap. Where is the pin light? Wait, it does have a flashlight. Hang on. What's the deal? I don't think the flashlight is working, actually. Huh. I'll have to figure that out. So, dimmable light switch. Maybe that's what that is. I really don't know. That, to me, looks like it should be a flashlight. Maybe it is dim. That image, to me, it looks like a teacup that's hot, or a cup of soup that's hot. So maybe that's dimmable. Maybe you think flashlight in the orientation. I don't know. I'll actually have to look it up, and we'll probably feel like idiots, but hey, at least you know I'm honest. All right, here you do get the frickin' cord, thank the Lord, because again, some of you may hate that. I don't. If I'm not going to get the cord, I want the price to be lower, and you don't know that until you've had something that has the cord with the price to establish that baseline. So hence why I want the cord. Looks like there is an instruction manual, which will hopefully tell us what that is. We could probably play with that. I don't know if we turn it on. Let's actually do it. Let's try to not be idiots. So I'm going to tap that thing. You have to hold it. Pretty sure she's not getting dimmer. I don't see a flashlight coming on. I legitimately don't know. Maybe it dims this side. I don't think so. Does it dim this? No. Does it dim the UV? I don't know why you'd want to do that. It does not. Yeah, I don't know what that does unless it was dud. So my apologies. Right here, though, this is the last important thing on the packaging. If you're concerned with runtime, or you're currently at your wit's end with your current work light that you used to kind of like okay, but it got to where you can't stand it because it dies super fast and it takes forever to charge, 1000 lumen, you're looking at 4 hours. On low, which I'm not sure how I get to, you're looking at 7. That's a huge difference. That's, again, roughly a tenth, and we're going from 4 to 17. If you come in 4x would be 16, so you get the idea. Front or back output. Let's see here. So high, you're going to have 800 lumens for 4.5 hours. Low, 100 for 17. Not much of a drop off here. 1000 to 800, you gain a half an hour. And the flashlight, they're going to tell you runs for 10 hours at 400 lumens. Interesting. So I won't make you sit here and watch me struggle with this packaging that looks like it's going to be absolutely ridiculous to get into. And I will also read the manual ahead of time and try to figure out what that button is supposed to do. Truth be told, I'll be here pressing and holding things together trying to figure it out, because I would rather have that under my belt and have to be like, oh, that's what it does. And it could just be broken. I don't know. But hanging hook, the magnet, we'll look at all that stuff here in just a second. So give me some time. We'll be back and we'll see how we rank this one against our first impressions on the other lights. All right, first thing first, shout out to the fresh Cuttix blade. Made this quite painless in terms of blister packs like this. But it looked like a little suit and tie before I pulled it out of there. I thought that was funny. And, I also kind of feel somewhat vindicated. Number one, I probably should have thought of this, and that would have helped. But given that I've been using this daily at work, and I use the flashlight on the Mac Pro Stick, and I brought the Pro Stick over here, and the packaging included this, I assumed there was an LED here. This is also how you know I don't watch videos on this thing, or I would have known that and not looked like a potential idiot. But the packaging included this, and I just assumed this is where the floodlight was. And I'm like, why won't the dang thing come on, right? I can turn it on right now. Well, actually, let's open her back up. And it's kind of chunky through here, but that's good. It's like a positive detint. You don't have the free form you might be used to. But if we open this thing up, I'm going to go through the light settings. Prepare to be seeing the mat. I turned it for you. If I press it this time, it's this side, right? The back side. Press it again, we've got both. Fourth time, UV. Fifth time, off. You're like, yeah, now turn that flood on for us. You're like, dude, yours really is broken. Again, remember what I just discovered. There is no bulb here. And you're like, okay. There's no light coming from anywhere. Exactly. And the packaging, I don't have the ability to articulate this. Again, if we come in, we've got 1, 2, 3. That's about 90. 4, 5, and shut. So 2 positions, 90. 2 positions, 180. You do the math if you care. And you're thinking like, okay, but how do you... What cruel joke is this, dude? Well, check this out. Yeah, if you're thinking, wait, is that an LED? It certainly is. Case in point, cover your eyes. See, you opened them, didn't you? There's the floodlight. Now it makes sense, right? I kind of see what they're doing here. I could see it both ways. Apparently we can have... Okay, I guess as soon as I did that, it killed the floodlight. So the only way to have a flashlight, pin light, flood, whatever you want to call it, with this top button, your espresso cup, is to shut the thing. So it is what it is. That gives you about 10 hours. Again, seeing the size of the LED makes sense. I would have thought it would have been like 25, something along those lines. Seeing this, knowing the lumens, makes sense. I will tell you, I've grown so accustomed to having it here at the top extremity. You know, it just makes sense. You get into weird places. Again, I'm using this all the time at work to illuminate down into things. And then right here with the Mac Pro Stick, I've got a freaking magnet and I can retrieve things, right? So here's a little hex collar, case in point. That is actually a stupidly cool and, in my opinion, underrated feature. I am sizing this up in case you could swap this. It's a different size, unfortunately. That's a feature I've really grown to like. It's kind of, you don't have to have it. It's sort of like overkill, but it's cool. Like once you have it, you're thinking like, yeah, that does make sense. Now, depending on what you're doing with the light and where you're using it, it might be super annoying if you're going to get, you know, like metal chips or shavings or something on it, but for anything else, it's actually really cool, kind of handy. It'd be as simple as you drop something under your workbench, right? And so you're like, pin light, flashlight time, and then you just like, oh, there it is. And you go down and you pick up your socket. Cool deal. This is surprisingly light compared to what I thought it would be. This is not the most comfortable ergonomic thing in the world, but it's certainly not bad. I have no real complaints. In this mode, we are supposed to be able to hold and dim, I thought. And I'm not seeing it. Maybe that's... Spots before my eye, I don't know. But there is apparently a dim function. But what I want to do now is actually shut this. Again, 5 positions. And we want to take a look at the hook. Still blurry. This is not the most robust thing in the world. I guess it would be okay. I've kind of gotten accustomed to magnets. We'll see. The good news is you've got a magnetic base here. Listen close. We're going to go to the table. If we can get a spot here. That's pretty good. I was afraid it was going to suck. It's actually nice. I've got the handle of a rod bender here. It's quite heavy. Oh yeah, well, that's going to be fine. Case in point, real quick. Okay, well, I guess that does it too. Will the Astro? It's probably the weakest magnet. Granted, this thing's the oldest. I'm pretty sure this guy's going to handle it. Oh yeah. But I don't know that I've got anything bad to say right now. Now, how long will this last? How long will it perform in good condition? The most important thing to me is how long does it stay full bars? When does it start to dim? And then when do the charge times start to suck? That's really when I get frustrated. It's probably going to be faster than I would wish for a light that expensive. But hey, until I've used it, I will hold off my judgment. Similarly, if they do come out with other colors, Okay, I'm probably going to wait. But when this one starts to frustrate me, that's when there's a sale. I'll jump on the new color. I could also take this one to work. This would kind of be a cool in-car, in-truck work light, really. It's not as spendy as your Snap-on or your Mac or some of your fancy O-Light, Streamlight stuff, but it's kind of cool. It's USB-C, so it'd be easy to charge up anywhere. There's your charge port, by the way. But yeah, until I've used it, I can't really tell you much more. This is where you come in. You tell everyone your experiences, good or bad, how it compares, because again, I know there are a lot of work light / flashlight people. Let's see here. I'm gonna check this. With the light bar closed, spotlight turns on spot, floodlight turns on front, press again for UV, press and hold floodlight button to dim light, release button to set brightness. That's the official narrative there. And it looks like, I don't know where that's going to go. And we're going to time this card out, and quite frankly, I don't know that I'm that interested in the dimmable. Huh. I'm thinking it's going to have to be maybe only open. I'm going to go right here and press as soon as I can. So pay attention to the light on the mat. It actually dimmed that time. I guess it's just not getting as dim as I thought it would get. So yeah, it does seem to work. So I'm okay with that. And I'm going to leave it at that so I don't time out. Your thoughts and opinions always appreciated, particularly first-hand feedback. This isn't like the oldest thing in the world, but some of you have had it, I don't know, maybe a year-ish, something like that. Maybe not quite that long. Let us know your thoughts, your experiences, good or bad. Again, the end goal, believe it or not, is just to help people. I will have this linked. I don't make jack off that. I'm not affiliated with Harbor Freight. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to do so. Anytime I bring in another work light, good or bad, we'll have it here, and this, in true LSM fashion, will come back out for comparison and update. And, in the meantime, if you hadn't subscribed, I encourage you to do so. If you do that, you ring the bell, you jump your charger across the creek, YouTube just might notify you. We got brand new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, thanks so much for watching. Most importantly, hope I catch you back here for more from the shop. Real quick, I got 16 seconds of bonus content. The thing that I don't think I mentioned is there is a magnet here on the front. Obviously that'll work well when the light is folded in certain situations. Again, just wanted to get that covered.